All right, welcome back, everyone. It is the end of year recap, 2024.
So nuts. It is so freaking nuts. I can't believe that this year's over.
Yeah, it went by pretty quickly. When we start looking at January photos, it feels like just yesterday.
It really does. It's so weird. Lead us off.
Yeah.
What happened?
So I think it basically started in December of 2024.
Yes.
23. When we read the Blue Ocean Strategy, and we were like, let's find a blue ocean. And our fantasy at the time was to change from holistic med spa marketing to running only ads for e-commerce companies. So that was the beginning of the year, and spoiler alert, it didn't work out. But yeah, so you want to kick it off? Oh, dog's barking. That's a big dog. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, anyway, you want to start off with the clients?
Yeah, let's do it. So we were able to get our first kind of real e-commerce client in January, and I think both of us were super hype about that because we were like, oh my God, it's working. So we got that. I'm not going to name them for anonymity, but we got a first e-commerce client, and then we got another med spa client that was kind of like it ran over from like when we were working with med spas. So we did that. Tell them about YouTube though. What happened there?
Yeah, just to close out the first e-commerce client, we have this running theme with The Alchemist. We actually think beginner's luck is a thing because every time we try something new, it's like, oh, it worked. Yeah. And then it doesn't work. So,
yes.
Yeah, we were trying to get more into YouTube. That was part of our goals at the beginning of the year. So we started doing things like food vlogs. We did our currently still most successful video, which is the all-you-can-eat sushi for $19.95. Yep. We did a basic one on Soyo. This is the beginning of us trying to figure out how to do food vlogs.
Yeah.
Because I remember the Soyo one kind of sucked.
Yes.
We did a brew tea short. Oh, and we started Founders Forum. I just realized that.
Wow, You're right. That's true. That was the first ones.
Yes.
And we did it in person.
Do you guys want to watch my interview with Kayla? And then we also interviewed Chris and Paulo.
True.
All right.
On a personal note, one of the more exciting things I would say happening in January was we had a big trip, and we actually went to Cape Town, South Africa, with our friends Chris and Paulo. That was an interesting mixed bag trip. You want us to talk a little more about that?
Yeah, I think it was like 6 months in the making. We had this fantasy of like we were all in Bangkok one time.
Yep.
And we're like, where's the next place to go? And we thought we need a hustle house. So the idea was to post up for about a month in a location, and we found Cape Town.
Yeah.
I'll talk about the journey there, and you can talk about the stuff here. But
okay.
I think that was it's the furthest from the U.S., at least that we've traveled so far.
Oh, without a doubt.
We had to travel to, it like, IAD, so Maryland or?
Washington, D.C.
Washington.
Yeah.
And then it's like a 16-hour flight to Cape Town.
Yeah, it was nuts.
So that was really, really crazy. But unfortunately, in the first 2 weeks...
Oh, man. We wanted it to be a hustle house. For the first 2 weeks, it ended up being a sick house, really. I think I got the worst food poisoning I've ever had in my life. You were sick and had food poisoning and were sleep deprived. So I don't know how you lived through that. But I think there were some redeeming moments within that. One being we had this giant puzzle. It's like a 1,000-piece puzzle that we ended up doing.
Mostly Kayla did it.
Well, it was my distraction at 2:00 in the morning when I was sick and feeling terrible, so that was helpful. We played Monopoly together with the fam, and that was fun. That was led to some heated moments. And then what else?
Yeah, we I think when we did the puzzle in Monopoly, it hit differently than when I was a kid. Like there were a lot of life and business parallels when we were playing.
Yep.
We never made that video, but we should. But yeah, so ironically, we've been to Africa twice, neither of which is like the Africa that most people think about. Our first trip was to Egypt, pyramids and camels and stuff. And this one was Cape Town. But Cape Town is basically LA in Africa. It's the very one of the most southern. It is the most southern country of Africa, I think, right?
Yes.
Most predominantly white. I would say maybe 55% white, 60% white.
Well, where we were
true.
was white predominantly.
But I think it's like LA. There's like a downtown version. There's like the coast. There's like the beach. It's basically a cheaper version of LA. I mean, there's a lot of things that we tried to squeeze in there, but I think the most memorable was hiking Lion's Head.
Yes.
We didn't do Table Mountain. Table Mountain's higher, but we decided to do Lion's Head. We should have made a video about this. But
yeah, it was actually funny. There's one thing too that I'll add in here before we move on. There was a guy literally bringing a freaking amp up the mountain. Like he had tied onto his back with a rope, and we were like, okay, we just can't have that guy beat us up the mountain. So I remember that.
So now we're in February 2024. We realized that cold calling e-commerce companies was hard.
Yes.
We called med spas, and obviously when you call a med spa, usually a receptionist picks up or someone picks up because it's a local business. But what we found is we couldn't really translate cold calling to e-commerce stores because they're an e-commerce store. There's not really an office, not really easy to get a hold of a decision maker.
Yeah.
Maybe customer service. I don't know. So we found that. But we did.
Yeah, we did actually get 2 more clients. And they were very different. One was a referral, luckily, and the other one was from cold calling. And
Oh, okay.
I think that account to this day is still our most successful account.
Yeah.
They're not with us, of course, because I have a theory about that. But we ended up doing that. And then, tell them about what we did for YouTube.
Yeah, so while we were in Cape Town, we were still trying to do the whole, what are we doing for YouTube? We were thinking let's do food vlogs, travel vlogs, document our business. So we were still doing things like how we quit our job and traveled the world, how we organize Notion, because that's one of our bigger tools.
Yep.
And then at some point, I was like, let's just start documenting our weekly updates. So every week, we just kind of give a highlight of what we've done for the past week.
I'm not sure how interesting those are for other people to watch, but I find them extremely interesting to look back on. And I'm thinking it's going to be the same with this one. All right, now we're going to move into March. So this is when things shifted a little bit. We were back in the U.S. fully. And we really started dialing in on the sales system. I remember you were really taking control of this, and you did a great job with setting everything up. There's a lot to set up. Number one being an auto dialer. We used Kixie and Phone Burner, a CRM, which was HubSpot, and which was exciting, we hired our first cold caller,
that's crazy.
Which is crazy. So someone else was calling on behalf of us. And then in addition to that, we worked on some conference prep because we thought we were going to go back to conferences. And if you want to talk about this one.
Yeah, so in the spirit of tracking, I love tracking, we love tracking, we started planning what our days look like on an hourly, if not daily hours. Yeah. Well, I think minutes came later. So it's what are we doing? If we're working 8 hours a day, what's happening in those 8 hours? And later on in the year, we end up going down to 15-minute blocks.
Yeah, it was crazy.
We got 2 more clients. Again, I don't know how we were getting these clients. It was so hard to get a hold of these people, but we got them. And then I'll do the YouTube.
Yeah.
And then you do the... we continued food vlogs and then the weekly updates. So now that I think about it, that was a lot of... I'm glad we actually went to monthly updates because weekly was a lot.
Yeah, it's too much.
But anyway.
Too much. Moving on to personal, we did make one other trip, and it was with my family, and we went to Costa Rica, actually. So that was, at least for me, it was nice in that I got to see my family. Logistically, terrible, because it was during spring break. It was such a pain in the ass, and I got sick again. So,
And we were still trying to figure out how to... our life revolves around the business.
Yeah.
So even though we went, it was we were still carving out time in the middle of the day or at night to work on, to meet with the team, meet with the clients.
It was tricky.
Yeah. I think this was, I think it was the first time where it was not a stable, no, never mind. We did the other countries before. No, it's fine.
Yeah, it's
my birthday happened, but I don't really.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. I don't really. Okay. Anyway, and something that's really cool that I love. Do you want to talk about this?
Oh my God,
or do you want me to talk about it?
Go ahead, because you love it so much.
Okay. So last year we were eating this thing called Factor. Basically a fancy meal prep service. But I was watching Graham. Shout out Graham.
No, who? Who's Graham?
Oh, Graham Stephan.
Graham Stephan. If you don't know who Graham Stephan is, he's a YouTuber.
And also Cody Sanchez, who's also a YouTuber. And they're this thing called Cook Unity. So we've been on it since April, so that's 8 months. Basically a better, fancier, better quality, more diverse food prep. So on we now get it on Sundays, and it lasts us for the entire week. Basically, we only have to go out 2 or 3 times a week to get dinner, and the rest is just food prep.
It has freaking saved us too. It's so convenient.
I like it because we don't have to figure out what to get at the grocery, drive to the grocery, drive back. Yeah. Prep the food, cook the food. It's just ready to go and it's delicious.
Yeah, I just order it, once a week. It shows up, we put it in the microwave, we eat it, and that's it. So, all right, moving on to April. So overall, we saw a few things change and a few new characters come into our lives. So number one, we went to WealthCon. It is a conference for realtors in Las Vegas. And you're probably wondering, why the hell did you go to that one? And I still don't really know why. But we went and we learned a thing or two. And we also met one of our mentors. His name is Joe. We call him Coach Joe.
Hey, team.
Hey, team. So he helped us out. And then tax season started, which kind of was a whole new world for us, I think, because this was a little different situation. Go for it.
Yeah, we started trying to build systems with our ads service.
Yep.
We found Looker Studio, which is just a Google tool that you can use to consolidate a bunch of data. And then we started hiring more, beefing up our Google Ads team because we only had one person at the time.
Yep.
Okay. Wow, this is crazy. So up to this point, we were working like 6-7 hours of deep work every day. And this is when we started to transition to 8 hours. And I think that's really hard. Most people like work an 8-hour shift, but most of that time is like, some of that time is like chatting, scrolling on Instagram or whatever.
Oh yeah.
This is like 8 full hours. And so it took us a while to get there, but eventually we went from like 6 hours to 6.5 to 7, 7.5 to 8 to 8.5 over the year. So it's very impressive now looking at this, where I remember it feeling difficult.
Yes. Yeah. I remember it feeling very difficult for me because I had no work ethic before this. So yeah. Moving on, we did start a YouTube channel for what is known as GrowWise, which was our first kind of named for our business. And, Giannis, our ads person, he's on that channel. So if you want to know how it works, I guess go over there. And it's funny because at this point, we were actually starting to question going back to med spas. This is funny because of a later situation that we'll talk about. But that started happening. And then, if you want to wrap out April.
Yeah, one cool thing we did was one of our clients was like, have you guys been to the Sphere? Because I think it was relatively new. So we're like, no, we haven't. And so like one of the days we did like a date day and visited Sphere. But we have a video about that that we produced later on. Yeah,
that was cool. And then we did get 2 referrals. And they were not what we thought they were going to be. They were actually med spas. So that was interesting.
All right. May 2024, we started working with Coach Joe. He offered to mentor us for free, which is really cool insight into a way more organized agency.
Oh my God.
Trying new things. We were like, why don't we apply for grants? And so there's a whole month or so where we tried applying to different grants. Wink, wink, we didn't get any.
Yep. This month we started kind of hitting our stride actually with getting clients. We got 3 new e-commerce clients and 1 new referral for a med spa client. So that was pretty interesting. That was not a bad month. And then we did a live stream with one of our YouTuber friends that, we kind of chatted here and there with. And I wonder how she's doing, actually. I haven't talked to her in a while.
Shout out Mercedes. If you still watch these updates, hit us up.
Yep, exactly. All right, go for it.
Personal stuff. So I tried this app called Neighbor. It's basically a way to rent out your garage space. So got my first client there. No longer need to do that because the tenants are using it. And we went to, where's this called? What's this place called in Sacramento? Winters, California, for my cousin Brittany and Brandon's wedding. So
yeah, that was nice.
Cool little. Actually, when I went there, I felt like I couldn't really keep up energy-wise because I was more like, I want to sleep early. I don't want to be dressed up anymore. Completely different person. But.
Yeah, it was actually interesting too because over this year, something that's not written down actually is that our schedule is very different, I think, than the years previously.
Oh, that's right. Cape Town.
Yeah, and then on top of it, we don't drink really hardly at all anymore. So it was weird because I normally, when I'm around your cousins, like they drink a lot. So by definition, I sometimes drink a lot and I get shit-faced. But this one, I didn't drink at all. Like I had 1 drink, literally, for that entire wedding. And I was just like... Oh, yeah, it's fine.
Speaking of schedule, I think this happened when we got back from Cape Town.
Yeah.
Typically, when we come back from overseas, we're jet lagged. But this was the first instance where we woke up at 4 or 5 in the morning and just started staying in that time frame. It normalized to 6 or 7 where we wake up now. But we're like, wait, why don't we just wake up early? And at the time we were working out in the morning.
Yep.
And so we just wake up on average between 6:30 and 7, and we get most of our day done. And I feel like we enjoy working when the sun's out. So
it's awesome. No, I love it. Now I'm so happy that we're morning people.
All right.
Okay.
Last month, June of 2024.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we have we did a big website migration for a med spa.
Yeah.
This is when we were getting desperate. So we're like, oh, cold call's not working. Let's sign up for trying to figure out how to do email blasts. So we hired someone to try that out, and that didn't work at the time. We started monthly. Did we just start? We had monthly team meetings. I guess at the time we weren't really cohesive with everyone. So we started bringing that, and then we talked about Joe. So one of the biggest things that came out is learning how to build an offer. So we have an offer now.
Yeah, true. Interestingly enough, we did sign one e-commerce client, and the funny thing about this one is that we actually started talking to them in February. It literally took like half a year to sign these people, and they ended up being a really good account, so that was cool. I can talk about YouTube if you'd like. So YouTube, we took a little break from YouTube, so we were getting back to YouTube. So we did 2 food reviews, which was the Chinese food review and then the Korean barbecue food review. And then we did a sphere video, like Gregory said earlier in the chat. And that was kind of interesting. Yeah. I think I like the food videos because we try something new, but I don't like them because I feel distracted when we're eating, so I can't enjoy it. And then I also feel like we're obligated to order more, so then I get full and then I feel like crap. So yeah, we'll see if that continues into next year or not. But yeah.
You can mention that.
Yeah. And then the last thing, we did do just like a day trip to the Bay Area for a family event of mine. And that was about it.
We discovered We Love Sean.
That is true.
We Love Sean, right?
Yes. It's like this little mango dessert place. Freaking awesome.
All right. So those are the first 6 months. Kind of just documenting things. But in the next one, we will talk about the last 6 months and maybe do a little reflection on how the year went.
Yeah, that sounds like
so good. Don't forget. First.
Yeah, don't forget this.
Don't forget to like,
subscribe,
and hit that bell notification.
Peace.